Hey guys, it's Josh here, and in this video, I'm going to share with you the meditation secret that will help you end overthinking in seconds. Now, before I do that, I just want to show you this view because it is absolutely unreal. So this is the beach, not too far away from where I live, and I think I'm going to start making videos down here because I like making videos in my little office, but sometimes I like a change of scenery. And again, like, look at that. That is a good view. So this is a much more inspiring place for me to make a video. Anyway, the meditation secret that will help you end overthinking in seconds. I started meditation when I was 17 years old because my mind was out of control. I had a lot of anxious thoughts. I had a lot of negative thoughts. And at the time, I felt kind of ripped off. You know, coming out of childhood, coming out of my teenage years, I was starting to, grow up and see what life was all about. And I was just super anxious and I was overthinking everything. And I felt like a bit depressed, really, that this was what my life was like. And I knew that I had more potential, and I knew that I shouldn't necessarily feel the way that I was feeling, and it was possible for me to feel happier and more confident within myself. I knew that my mind was supposed to be this really powerful thing, but for some reason I just hadn't learned how to harness the power of my mind. And so I set out to do exactly that, to master my mind so that I wasn't being mastered by my mind, right? I didn't want to be under the control of my own thoughts. I wanted to be in control of my thoughts. And so I started meditation, and that was when I was 17, and no one around me was doing meditation at that time. I started by myself from my own initiative, and that was 15 years ago now. And over the last 15 years, I've learned some secrets, and I want to share one of the biggest things that people make as a mistake with meditation, and also the biggest secret to help you end overthinking in seconds. So the thing that people get wrong with meditation is that they think that you're supposed to stop your thoughts. I was talking to my sister not long ago, and she was trying to start meditation, and she said, well, I just can't do it. I always seem to, I just can't stop my thoughts. And I feel like I'm failing every time I do that. I feel so frustrated because every time I try to do it, I can't stop my thoughts, and it makes me feel frustrated, and it makes me feel like a failure. But here's the thing, you're not supposed to stop your thoughts. You can't actually ever really stop your thoughts. You're gonna continue having thoughts. As long as your brain is online and you're alive, you're gonna have thoughts. It's not about stopping the thoughts, it's about creating some distance from the thoughts, realizing that you are not your thoughts, right? Creating that distance from your thoughts is what meditation is really all about. Creating that distance from your mind is what meditation is really all about. And it's really about breaking the illusion of the mind and these mental thoughts and stories that we tell ourselves. And so when you get that, that's going to change everything for you. And I want to tell you now this secret that will help you to achieve that. Because again, it's taken me 15 years to learn this, and it's a constant process. So it's not like you get it and then you're done, right? For me, anyway, it's been this constant process of remembering and reminding myself that I'm not my mind, because you can get caught up in thinking that you are. So anyway, here's the 4 steps that I really suggest that you try if you struggle with overthinking, and if you end up in spirals. Try this, right? So the 4 steps are: 1, to become conscious of your thought; 2, to acknowledge your thoughts; 3, to accept your thoughts; and 4, to redirect your thoughts. So let me just walk through each of them really quickly. Number 1, be conscious of your thoughts. So this might sound stupid, but a lot of people just think unconsciously. They're just thinking on autopilot. Something happens in their world, like their friend says something, their family says something, and then they're just hijacked, and then they're just having all of these thoughts unconsciously. What I mean by that is, if you are really conscious, and to be conscious is to be aware. So if you were really conscious and if you were really aware, you wouldn't choose to have negative thoughts, would you? and yet you always seem to have these negative thoughts. So that's suggesting that you're unconsciously thinking, okay? This is something that everyone does. They just have unconscious thinking habits, or and these unconscious thinking habits are really from the subconscious mind, so from our past, right? Like our past, and then just things that are happening in our life and things that trigger us, and all of that can trigger these unconscious thoughts. So we want to become conscious of the thought, so to become aware of the thought that we're having. That's the first step. Second step is to acknowledge the thought, and you can do this by labeling it, right? By labeling the thought or naming it. So for example, if I was to wake up and start having some negative thoughts or some stressed thoughts, or I'm worrying about something, or I'm doubting myself, I would become conscious of the thought. You can do that through a practice of meditation, but you don't even need meditation to do that, to be honest. You become conscious of the thought, number one, then you acknowledge the thought and you say, this is a doubtful thought. This is a worried thought. This is a fearful thought, okay? And so you've acknowledged it, and you've named it, and you've labeled it. And when you label it, it's kind of like shining a torch in the dark, right? Suddenly you're not scared anymore. Suddenly it has no power over you and you can see clearly, right? That's what happens when you acknowledge the thought. And then step 3 is to accept it. So don't try to fight it. This is a problem a lot of people have. They try to fight their thoughts, they try to change them, and they really resist their thoughts. But what you resist persists. So don't try to fight your thoughts. Instead, allow them to be there and learn to accept your thoughts, okay? And you can do this by simply breathing. When you breathe into a thought and then you breathe out, that breathing out aspect really helps you to let go. So for example, if I think something negative, like maybe I get an email and it's not the email that I wanted to get, and it triggers me into feeling a bit anxious or a bit stressed, I can become conscious of that. I can acknowledge it and say, oh, this is a stressed feeling, this is a stressed thought. And then I can actually just allow it. I can breathe into it, and I breathe out, let it go, and you can just let it go that easily. And then step 4, you redirect. So you want to redirect your thoughts, right? And so then in that case of the email that triggers the stress, I would redirect it to something like, I don't need to worry about that right now, or I am fully capable of dealing with that. Or I would just redirect it to a preferred thought, right? Like, I'm totally calm right now. I have plenty of time for this, right? So you just redirect it to the preferred thought that you would want to be thinking. And that's how you can consciously start to choose the thoughts that you're having instead of being unconsciously run by your thoughts. And all of that can happen within a few seconds, right? So try it out. Next time you're spiraling, give that a go. And if you want more help, I know this was a shorter video today, but I do have a 15-minute training on my website where I walk you through a 6-step process to start shifting your thoughts from negative thoughts to positive thoughts. There's a little guided meditation in there as well. So if you want to check that out, there's a link to that video and my website in the description of this one. So you can check that out. And I might even just put it on the end of this video here on YouTube, so you can just watch it on YouTube if you want. So yeah, that's it for today's video from this beautiful location here on the Sunshine Coast in Australia. Let me know in the comments, where are you watching from? I appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe, I really appreciate it. Comment below where you're from, I'd love to know. And I'll see you in the next video.